Hello and welcome to the Energy Within podcast with Shalyn and Catherine, where we talk about womanhood, motherhood, spirituality, and more.
On today's episode, we're going to be deep diving into Wild Femme and what that means, who she is, how she relates to us, and all that good stuff. We're continuing this series that we're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wild Femme is the instinct, the fluidity, and the freedom that you feel inside your body, whether it be caged or uncaged, and we'll get into what that means. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just so you know where that resides within you. And kind of continuing from our last little spiel that we did in our previous episode,
near the end,
we're going to be explaining more about the balancing act between dark and light and where wild fits into that.
Mm-hmm.
So get ready! Get ready! Our goal is to inspire you to find that balance, to learn how to find that balance between dark and light through Wild Femme. Mm-hmm. So think of her as the pillar, the foundation, the strength, not quite a bridge, but
we had the analogy of the scales.
Yes.
In the last episode, we've got light on one hand, we've got dark on the other hand, and wild is literally the scale that brings the two together.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a profound epiphany for us. And it makes so many more things click in my brain.
Yeah. So to start off, I want to just do a brief recap of dark and light. So dark is your power and your depth. Mm-hmm. And light is your nurturing and your joy and the comforting aspects of you. So if we lean too far into the darkness, then we can become closed off. Mm-hmm. And if we lean too far in the lightness, then we can become people pleasers. So we really need something between the two, and that is your wild, and that helps you ground and
discern.
Yes, and
discern when to activate dark and when to activate light.
Yes, because we can't just be soft all the time, and we can't just be strong all the time,
and we can't just be wild all the time either.
No. How to be soft and strong, how to be, that's youthful, that doesn't make any sense.
Joyful.
How to be soft and strong, how to be joyful and powerful, how to be open and discerning, because it's incredibly important to be, for example, when it comes to open and discerning, we be open to love, but then we have to be discerning about what love we're accepting. We can't just willy-nilly let anybody into our lives, for example. Yeah. So no big deal, but wild is basically the key.
The key to the cage.
The key to the cage, which we will get to. The key to the cage. And then you made an excellent point that I would love you to talk about before we get into like the nitty-gritty details.
Okay.
About what wild means to you and like.
Yeah. So as we were writing down the points for this episode, I just got like this little picture idea in my head that like Wild Femme is basically your inner child. It's your inner child before people told you to sit down and be quiet. It's your inner child to say when people started telling you that you're too loud, or you are too bossy, or too much of something.
Or not enough of something.
Or not enough of something. Exactly. It's that, it's just like your inner child.
Yes.
Is the all-encompassing thing.
Yes. We talk about inner child a lot in therapy, and like the importance of exploring our inner child and letting her come out and shine and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that term can get kind of wishy-washy for people, or like overwhelming, and then you start thinking about your childhood and your parents and but if you just think about it, maybe as Wild Femme and as part of your hierarchy of reaching sacredness and divinity in divine feminine, maybe it'll be a little bit easier to digest, and then you can start working through those inner child things. But that was an excellent point that you made this morning. And when we get into the wounds and the ways to heal Wild Femme, you're gonna like see the connection between inner child work.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
When I noticed this, I was like, oh.
I wonder almost, and I'm kind of going off book here, so ride this out with me.
All right.
If Wild Femme healing is inner child work, dark Femme healing is shadow work, and then light Femme healing is self-love work. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I also had the little thing there too. It was like dark Femme is the shadow work to go into the inner child healing as well as also the self-love healing.
Yeah.
I had the same thought. You just said it out loud.
That's fine.
Nailed it. Good job.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
The power of the car. Power of sitting in the car. So, before we begin, let's talk about the history. My favorite part of these episodes.
How the patriarchy fucked us.
would you be surprised to know that the patriarchy is what fucked us? If you've been here for the last 2 episodes, I'm sure you're not. If you've been here for any episode, I'm sure you're not.
I'm pretty sure you find some way to slide it in.
Hashtag fuck the patriarchy. So, on today's episode of hashtag fuck the patriarchy, where did Wild Femme go? What happened to her? Where is she?
Where'd she go? She was put in a box.
In a cage. In a cage. Box with bars?
Box with bars.
Otherwise known as cage, yes.
Yes.
Because basically she was untamable, uncontainable, and the men, the patriarchy, were afraid of it.
Yep.
Very similar to Dark Femme, except that, and very similar to Light Femme as well, except that Light Femme could be controlled and manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Femme could be villainized, but they didn't know what the fuck to do with Wild Femme,
mm-hmm.
so they had to cage it. But
suppress it.
Yes.
And
suppressed, yes.
Suppressed and repressed.
Yes, Wild Femme is suppressed and repressed in today's day and age. Yeah. Obviously not in all cases, but the majority. Yes. Blanket statement. But in the olden times, before the patriarchy, there was sacred unruliness. There was the Wild Femme ideals is the huntress and mm-hmm. the priestess mm-hmm. kind of ideal. Mm-hmm. So Artemis,
yep,
and
Freya,
those are like Wild Femme archetypes.
Yeah,
you think about a goddess dancing naked under a full moon. You mm-hmm. think of a woman running with wolves and things like that. Mm-hmm. These are very powerful wild archetypes. Women who embody these things were often called witches. And they were, or mad women, they were institutionalized, mm-hmm. burned at the stake, things mm-hmm. like that. There's a pattern here I'm sure you're seeing mm-hmm. from all of these episodes. Basically, if it couldn't be controlled and it couldn't be shoved in a kitchen, it was destroyed. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Literally caged.
Literally caged, yes. Because it was a threat to masculine order. But then, so like that all happened. And then in the 60s and 70s, there was like the women's movement and it became more okay-ish. People would take more power back with their sensuality and their sexuality and things like mm-hmm. that. And then that's kind of when like new age magic started popping back up because wild women were trying to recapture the old magic. And so we had tarot shops and we mm-hmm. have crystal stores and things like that. Mm-hmm. So those astrology and the things that we believe nowadays as modern witches is kind of like an attempt to reclaim what was lost.
Yeah.
And so that's very powerful. And if people make fun of you for liking astrology, just fuck them. Mm. Because it's just us trying to reclaim that wild sense that was tried to be taken away from us or caged mm-hmm. or whatever.
Well, and like the thing about like wild too is that it's very natural, so it's like in the elements, like as deep as you can go, and it's looking at the stars and the moon and how what they're trying to say to us and that sort of thing. So mm-hmm. it's like the deeper elements of nature and but that like becoming one with nature almost.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
How to identify if you have wounded wild femme. So there's kind of 2 types of wounded wild femme, which makes a lot of sense. I didn't really realize this, but then we did the research.
Yeah.
And
which is super cool.
Super cool.
Super cool.
So there's 2 types of wounded wild femme. One type is you are caged. Your wild femme is caged. And she's just trapped. And then the other one is the opposite, where she's in control in a chaotic way. And so the bridge is kind of like
wild.
This
is what I called it. Just like too wild.
Yes.
Like too wild in a sense that it's harming yourself and other people around you.
Yes. So suppressed and repressed. So if you feel like you're forced into hiding, you're hiding your emotions, you're hiding your truth, anything like that. Mm-hmm. Being disconnected from your passions and your hobbies, which leads into the inner child statement that you made earlier. Yep. Because that's where the wildness comes from. It's painting without fear, without anything like that. Yeah. A lost sense of adventure, fear of change, choosing practicality over joy 90% of the time, and feeling trapped in your routines, or like feeling like you need your routines or everything is going to fall apart. Fear as being seen as immature or selfish or irresponsible, because God forbid anybody thinks that you're not just like tight and got control over everything. Perfect. Yes. Which nobody on the fucking planet, not a singular person has.
Perfect is a made up construction.
It sure is. And then a inane calling to break free from life, run away from home, things like that. These are all signs that your wild is suffocating or needs help in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no balance in life. You're all or nothing kind of a thing in like all areas of your life, and I'm a pretty proud all or nothing kind of girl. But it's more than that. It's not just being like I either love something or I hate something. It's like I do this until I pass out, and I do that until I pass out, and or you're just passed out. So it's just kind of finding that balance between softness and hardness and things like that.
Yeah.
You also will find that you're very uncommitted. You'll like have lots of ideas and you want to do lots of things, but there's no follow through and you can't really get to the end game or to the finish line. And whereas like on one side of the coin, you need the structure and the routine, whereas on the other side of the coin, you avoid it at all costs. Mm-hmm. Refuse to let anybody put you in any kind of cage or a box, even if it might help you, even if it might support you, because you'd be afraid of being caged. Because whether we recognize it or not, the wild inside of us knows. She believes she has two options, to be caged or to be free. Mm-hmm. And we have to try to teach her to find the middle ground. Yeah.
The balance.
If you will. My least favorite word. But I'm understanding now more. This has been really helpful for me to learn the understanding of balance.
Exactly.
Yeah. And maybe it's not impossible.
No. And
then our final sign to be aware if your wild femme is wounded is if you're numbing yourself with distractions, consistent doom scrolling, anything addiction related, substance abuse, too much video games, too much whatever nonsense.
Yeah.
Engaging in relationships that you know are harmful and should not be engaged in, and things like that. So, if you have any of those things in your life, no judgment. We have things on that list. This is how we heal it. The number one thing is reconnecting with your body. We say it a lot. We say it in every episode, pretty much regardless of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Reconnecting with your body, because embodiment is one of the main keys to success in every aspect of healing that needs to happen. Yeah. You need to be in your body and like out of your mind, because our minds can lie to us.
Especially with the feminine energy, right?
Yes.
Feminine energy is very grounded in your body, not logical. Like that's the masculine side of things, right? So if we're trying to embrace the feminine energy within ourselves, we need to get into our body.
Yes, absolutely.
As often as we can.
Yeah. So you've heard us say it before. You'll hear us say it again. Dance, stretch, do yoga, go to the gym, do the things that make you happy through body movement.
Yeah.
I'm sure masturbation wouldn't hurt either. We also say that a lot.
We do.
It's important for you.
It sure is.
So yeah, move intuitively. And also, this is my least favorite one, but it just is true. I'm an inside the house girly, but getting out in nature is incredibly important. Mm-hmm. Barefoot if possible, near water if possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very important.
Again, just the elements, right? Feel the wind, feel the sunshine, feel the earth beneath you, feel the water.
Yeah.
Make a fire, burn some shit.
We love burning shit.
Burning shit's
great.
Elemental and being outside just helps you out of your head so much easier.
Yes. And then also this is kind of like calls back to our episode about sensuality a little bit, but helping you get into your body and really tapping into those five senses as well.
Yeah.
And helps you, focus on what you're eating, focus on what you're doing, focus on what you're touching and things like that.
Be present as much as you can.
Yeah. Asking yourself where you feel caged in your life. Maybe you can't fix everything right now today, but just like being aware of it and seeing it and just like keeping it like more intentional eye out for situations and environments where you might be feeling caged in, or like you have to cage certain aspects of yourself can be very helpful as well moving forward.
Yeah, where are you masking?
And then start performing small acts of rebellion, taking up space, speaking your mind. You can start small with people who you trust and then eventually grow out to be bigger. Maybe you need to start just with yourself and like being honest in your journal, for example. Little acts that encourage Wild to kind of like come out of her cage, or maybe come and sit down at the table instead of dancing on top of the table, whichever way your Wild is.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Maybe she's in a cage in the corner. Maybe she's on top
Maybe
of the
she's
table.
on the table.
Let's
Yours
sit down.
is definitely on the table.
Mine is definitely on the table.
Yeah. Mine's in the cage in the corner.
Listen, I was raised on Coyote Ugly, and so are you. So I don't know why yours isn't also on the table.
I'm not judging you. Not at all. I'm just stating the fact yours
She's
is up on
there.
the table.
She's up there.
Yeah.
She is, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
And she's fine. She's fine, but maybe she needs to sit the fuck down sometimes.
Yeah.
Which leads us into the next point, which is finding responsible fun.
Ah, yes. My new favorite term, responsible fun, because I'm all type A, get shit done, do the things. But then I'm also like, I really want to just like go do something spontaneous. So having the responsible fun, I do it more so with like my boys to teach them that we can have fun in certain ways and we can also still be like responsible about it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, just like picking, it's just like the smallest things. It's the little things that make such a big impact in your day and week and month and life. And just like finding those things. So whatever speaks to you, if you have like a random feeling come up that says like, yeah, I want to go for a walk at midnight. Now, depending on where you live, of course.
There is a question, and I think the question is like, would this make 5-year-old you happy?
Yeah.
Right? Is like calling back to that inner child. Would this be enjoyable to do if you were 5 years old and you didn't give a fuck what anybody thought? Mm-hmm. And are you safe doing it? Answers to both are yes.
Oh,
go for it.
I have one. Yeah. Hubba Bubba. Hubba Bubba. I have a pack of Hubba Bubba, and I keep it in my purse for whenever the random time I feel like, hey, I want some bubble gum. And I put it in my mouth and I chew away and I blow the biggest fucking bubbles ever. And it's so much fun.
I love it.
And it's not harming anybody, but it's fun.
Maybe your jaw. That's like a.
It does hurt my jaw after a while. Yeah. Once it loses its flavor, it's not so great, and then I have to throw it away, and then I'm sad.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Another one too that kind of like triggered us in a fun way was ordering something new at the restaurant and not ordering the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really bad. I have one meal that I like at every single restaurant, and I always get that.
Yeah.
So.
And it's usually sweet potato
ordering
fries.
something different.
Yeah.
Mine is always like a burger. Mm-hmm. So any kind of restaurant, I can usually find a burger that I like, or a chicken burger, and fries always.
Yeah.
Fries and gravy. Oysters. If that place has oysters, I'm getting fucking oysters. Oh my god. I love oysters so much. This is the only food, oysters, that literally like make my body explode with pleasure.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it.
That's fine.
But the first like oyster that I have is just like it's like fireworks inside. It makes me so happy. I love them so much.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That was a good expression of your wild energy.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm holding space.
Thanks. You're gonna hold space regardless.
I'm gonna hold space regardless.
My wild can get pretty wild.
Ooh.
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 What was that?
Maybe she's dancing on the table.
I'm thinking about climbing up there. Oysters got me really excited. I really like oysters.
I've never had an oyster. I probably will never put an oyster in my body. I don't eat anything from the ocean.
Why?
Fish are friends, not food. For real, I ate.
You have this whole philosophy based on fucking Finding Nemo?
Do you want to know the ironic part? Is I've seen Finding Nemo one time and it was like 9 months ago.
What?
Yeah.
I can't. You can't. Fish are friends, not food.
I heard that as like it's a pretty like famous quote from the movie, and I was like, yeah, that's my belief system. That's how I believe.
Okay, but oysters aren't fish.
Anyways, I try really hard not to eat living things. I don't want to talk about turkey and chicken. I don't want to talk about turkey and chicken. We're 1000% off topic.
Absolutely.
Back to the topic. Eat whatever you want.
Eat whatever you want.
Or don't eat whatever you don't want. Yeah, so sing in the car, go on solo dates, invite your friends to go on like a wild adventure day with you. Be safe about it, of course. And then do things that make you feel good. Have routines and rhythms built into your day, as opposed to the word schedules. I'm using these words intentionally, rhythms and routines that make you feel productive and safe, so that Dark is getting what she needs, but that are also taking care of you, so Light gets what she needs, but then they're fun, so Wild is getting what she needs, right? Like we have to hit the 3 points. So everybody is together in harmony and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
And set up time for freedom in your schedule. So scheduling freedom sounds a little bit ridiculous.
I laughed so much at the contradictoriness of that sentence.
Yes. But it's important, because if you don't, 2 things are going to happen. If you don't schedule in time for fun, you're either going to have none, or you're going to then kind of like binge it later and potentially do something dangerous because you're so desperate for it, right? It's the idea of having a little piece of chocolate every day so that you don't eat an entire chocolate cake in one sitting.
Yes.
It's finding the balance. Hate it so much. I hate the words that are coming out of my mouth, but they make sense, right? Like you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's flexible structure, which is an oxymoron, but it's also very true. Flexible structure.
And also I find like we're so busy in our lives too that you literally have to schedule things, otherwise maybe it's just me. No, but I have to schedule literally everything, otherwise it doesn't happen. So I have to like plan my me time.
Yeah.
My recharge time.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it just sporadically happens. It's like, oh, I have a minute. Why don't I do some painting?
Yeah. And if the term flexible structure doesn't really like ignite you, then aligned freedom. So we have our moments of freedom, but they are aligned with our daily life and what we need to accomplish. So that makes my soul.
I really like that one.
Yeah, that makes my soul a little bit more happy.
Yeah.
And when something comes up, ask yourself, is my soul pulling towards this, or am I running away from something, right? So if you want to do something, ask yourself, do I want to have this conversation with person A because I'm running away from something, I'm avoiding something, or because my soul is pulling me towards something good? Yeah, okay. And then because one of the points for spotting wounds in your wild is that you don't follow through with anything. If that is who you are, set small, tiny, measurable goals for yourself. Things that are easy to achieve so that you can build up that confidence over time and like show Wild that it is okay to like do things that are fun, do things that are easy and enjoyable, so that you can then kind of build up. Yeah, like resistance is the right word, but build practice.
Yeah.
Hitting those milestones and those goals, and then you can eventually accomplish crazy shit. One thing that has really, really helped me in just like normal daily life, and I think it is helping me reach more like divine femininity or whatever, is to change my wording around I have to do this to I get to do this. And I literally sometimes will hear the words I have to, etc., come out of my mouth, and I will stop and I will change it. I will say, I actually mean I get to do this, because I have to remind myself that a lot of the things in my life are things I get to do and things I put on my own plate. And if I didn't put them on my plate, then it's probably because they mean something to me and they're important. And I just feel overwhelmed and bogged down by it because it's a lot of things. I have nobody to blame but myself.
Yep.
Yeah. So I get to do it. So if you are like me and you're like, oh, I have to do, maybe some of the things you do have to do. We do have to go to the dentist, for example. But we can do something fun after or before or the next day. So just try to like,
or do the thing and make it fun. One of my favorite points that I wrote down was Wild doesn't lose control.
Yeah, because people who are caged, who their wild is caged, they look at the person, they look at the idea of Wild dancing on the table, and it can terrify them. And they think that that is what they need to become. And to go from being caged to dancing on a table is like A to Z, right? But that's not the answer. It's just sitting at the table. So
or dancing on the dance floor.
Yeah. So it's not about getting up on the table and dancing wildly as like the answer to how to unlock and heal your femme, wild femme. It's just releasing the fear of coming out of the cage and what that will mean for you.
A lot of times I feel for myself that fear is what's keeping me caged.
Yes.
So if I release the fear, I release the locks on the cage, and then I can just be.
Yeah.
And just being sounds so much more easier and fun and exciting.
Yeah. Because the caged wild is afraid of what is outside the cage as much as she wants to be out of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's afraid of what's outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the uncontrolled wild is afraid of doing anything that will get her close to potentially being caged. So they're both afraid of switching positions when really what they need to do is just meet in the middle.
Dance floor.
On the dance
floor. I like that analogy.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, on the dance floor.
I really like that.
You can dance.
Yeah.
On the dance
safely, because it's not safe to dance on a table. It's not safe. Continuing with your dance floor analogy, you had a point.
Yes. So yes, in my head, I can just picture one wild femme is up on the dance floor, and like she just stops, and then there's the girl sitting in the corner, off to herself, right? And then they just kind of like lock eyes, and then they just meet and start dancing together on the dance floor. So it's out of the cage, but it's also not too wild and crazy. Like they're both rooted in who they are and who they desire to be authentically, like to their core.
I'm listening to you. I'm also writing a poem in my head at the same time.
Oh, fun.
This is amazing.
Okay, cool.
I'm having like a spiritual minute over here.
Perfect. Did you listen to anything I just said?
No, I heard every single word you said. Yes, I did. I heard every single word you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Right?
Yeah, because letting your wild femme step into her power, I don't want to like saying letting her be wild, but letting her step into her power is not about letting her do whatever the fuck she wants in an unsafe way.
Yeah.
It is providing directions, not a leash. So don't think of it as like you have to get up on the table and dance, right? It is you go on an adventure, but you have a map for how to get there and how to get home. So that's the final message really that like I think we want to leave you with the foundation of. It's just go out there safely and then use your dark energy to tell you how to be safe. Yeah. And use your light energy to make sure that it's for you and it's for the good of all. Yeah. And then you can just carry on with your life and like be.
Swirls and just be.
Yeah.
And wild is really the key.
Wild is the key.
Wild really is the key.
Yes, and she's very important. Yeah. And we had to leave her for last to bring it all together. And then our next episode, we're going to really bring it all together for you into what happens when you get all three sisters together, wild and dark and feminine. When you find that balance, you get to unlock this powerful entity, which is your divine feminine or your sacred feminine. And so this has all been leading up to this final episode in this mini series, which is finding that balance and then how to harness it and how to adapt every day, because some days you're going to be more light. Some days you're going to be more dark. Some days you need that wild. And sometimes
it's even not just days. Yeah. Like it's moments. It's literally split seconds moments where you move with this one or you move with this one or you move with this one. Yeah. But it's all circulating within you harmoniously. They're all working together. Yeah. And you just like feel it in your body. You know exactly what you need to do and when to do it.
Yes.
And when to be and not to be. And it's like
it's the answer.
It's the answer.
Not to like set expectations too high, but it's the answer.
It's the answer
for how to balance and how to achieve what you want in life. So I feel like we're setting the bar very high, but I also feel like we're going to be able to like
it's so good.
Bring you up there. So
it's so good.
Yes. Thank you for joining our conversation today about Wild Femme, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, let us know what you're feeling and what you're thinking, if like any of this is bringing forth any ideas for you or energies and thoughts and things.
Yeah, what resonated, what sparked curiosity within you. You can find us on all platforms at the Energy Within podcast. Again, we hope you enjoy this episode as much as we do, because we just keep going with like all of the things that we're passionate about, and I hope that you also are feeling that too.
Yeah, getting something out of it.
Yeah,
because we certainly are, and we want to encourage whoever is listening, we
this.
want to encourage this. Whatever that is.
Whatever this is, we want it.
Come along with us on this journey. And you're kind of watching it in real time also, which is kind of fun.
On our journey?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We only just figured this out about like a month or two ago.
Yes. When we started the series.
series.
We kind of interrupted our original plans, and we were like, no, we have to talk about this now.
Yeah.
So you're coming on the journey with us.
Plans.
Really?
Very loose plans.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much. And we hope that you see your power and your energy